In our country. And the reason I've been looking forward is because when His Excellency, our President, came here and spent time with you, and from the number of conversations he has had with Muslim leaders in the country, the President has instructed us firmly to ensure that we implement his vision of managing the country in an inclusive manner. And the President has asked us in the security sector particularly, not just to embrace dialogue, but to engage deeply with communities and groups of people as a way of keeping every Kenyan together. In his own words, President Kenyatta says, there is no way we can lead people if others feel that they are not part of our community. And the President has insisted that in every action, in every plan we take, we need to sit down and engage with communities that are involved. And so, after the trip he made here, and after several conversations he has had with Muslim leaders, the President asked me to put my colleagues together, especially in the Ministry of Interior, and look for opportunities to engage with the Muslim leaders in the country. That's why I went to Mombasa some 3 months ago and sat down with some leaders. And since that time, I've engaged at a lower level with some of your colleagues. Because in pursuit of the vision that the President, our head of state, has given, that we have to work together and bring everybody together and build a genuinely cohesive society. We also have to talk to each other because we can't pretend to know everything because we are government. We gain a lot from talking to you, and we get advice on what we need to do. I have to confess here, quite frankly, and some of you probably already know, that we consult some of your leaders very closely. And I hope Mzee will forgive me today for saying this, but one of my great teachers and consultants is Senator Yusuf Haji. I really would do, because you can't know this country's administration better than Senator Yusuf Haji, given the number of years he has served in public service and particularly in administration and security. From time to time when there are issues, sometimes even the President himself will tell me, before you move, can you look for Senator Yusuf Haji and talk to him? Look for so and so and talk to him. Look for Mzee so and so and talk to him. And reach out to some of these elders and listen to them first before you take decisions. Because that is how our society is built, and that's how we are going to move forward. So I am grateful for the opportunity I have to meet with you. And the few minutes I have this afternoon, I will speak to you as your son for some of you, and speak to you as your brother for some of you, because God has been kind and gracious to us. He has given us a wonderful country called Kenya, and given us each other as wonderful people who have to live together. And whatever challenges we face, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in, if we work together and genuinely, sincerely engage one with another, I am confident that we will move forward together successfully as a successful nation. Thank you for the issues that you have raised this morning. And I will go through each one of them very quickly. The question of the Work Commission, Honorable Duala has explained it. We are done in Cabinet. The Attorney General is done. The Leader of Majority has published the bill. Now it's a question of going through Parliament, and we will be done. The question of Umma University, I want to confirm to you that we've consulted in government with my colleague, the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Before the end of this month of October, we will all be settled and done with the question of Umma University, including the charter and everything else. Let me address the question of registration documents. It is true, And I have engaged several times with Muslim leaders in the country about registration documents, birth certificates, IDs, passports. And actually, during 2 years ago, about 3 years ago, during Hajj, it became a big issue. The president asked us to set aside a desk to address travelers for Hajj. And the honorable members of parliament and leaders from the Muslim community, that time led by Senator Yusuf Haji and the Honorable Duale came and advised us. And actually, as a result of that advice, we set up the desk and look what we have achieved. I know it may not have worked 100% and supported everyone, but the bulk, over 80% of the challenges we had at that particular time were solved and were sorted out. And I am pleased to announce to you this afternoon that within this financial year, we now have resources to open up new registration and immigration structures in the north. We are going to revive our office in Garissa, and we will open it up by December, so that now we provide services, and those brothers and sisters who come from that part of the country don't have to travel all the way. And we will co-locate all the services: a civil registration service for birth certificates, national registration services, because we'll take up the office of the National Registration Bureau, and then the immigration office we will co-locate. And I want to assure you, leaders, that before the end of this year, we will now have those services available, and people do not have to travel long distances to get them. The question of extrajudicial killings has been raised here, and I'll speak very openly about it. It is true, as my brother and colleague, the Inspector General of Police, says, the government of Kenya does not have a policy on extrajudicial killings. Where extrajudicial killings exist elsewhere in the world, it's part of government policy. It's a part of the security sector policy. That is how they have decided to manage their security. We in Kenya do not have an extrajudicial killings policy, that when we suspect that people have committed a crime, we kill them, or we go after their life. There is no such policy in our security sector. And we've engaged with leaders from within the Muslim community. And I want to tell you very frankly, where there are cases or where there are suspicions, they are investigated. Because, as the Inspector General has said, we are a rule of law government. Our president is very firm about this as Commander-in-Chief and Head of State. We are a rule of law government, and respect for life is paramount for us. And it's not our responsibility as the executive branch of government to determine the guilt or innocence of anyone. Where there are cases of misbehavior on the part of our colleagues in the security sector, they are investigated. And we cooperate fully with independent officers, IPOA and the others. We have reformed the internal affairs unit of the police force. In fact, we moved it out of the police service and created a separate office for the internal affairs unit, so that you don't have to be shy to go to police headquarters to report there. You go to an independent office, and with the help of the National Treasury and some of our development partners, we have created probably an institution of its own kind in this region, in the internal affairs unit offices that we have in Upper Hill. Now, Kenyans can independently go and make a report. They can even call in. They can send videos. And where reports have been made, we have investigated them. And I want to assure the leaders who are here before me today that in cases where even the report that we received the other day about what happened in Lamu, already when our attention was drawn to this matter, just this morning the Inspector General has dispatched a team from the Independent Internal Affairs Unit to find out what actually happened. Because if police officers were involved in beating up Wananchi, that's an unusual incident. And we all agree the matter must be investigated. We must get a report. And the IG has sent a team from Nairobi, an independent team, to go and find out what exactly happened. Because we have been given a responsibility to serve our people, not to brutalize them, not to rule them or control them. We have been given a responsibility to serve our people. That would ask part of Mombasa. The other day, the IG and I and some of our colleagues from the security sector spend time walking across Kisauni from end to end. What you see is deplorable. And as leaders of this country today, if we don't speak honestly and candidly about this, we might even be cursed by God. This thing is destroying our children, period. It's taking away generations. And it is not ordinary Wananchi who are selling drugs. It's not ordinary people across the road, ordinary Wananchi who are moving around drugs. It's well-heeled people, well-connected people, the ones who are moving these drugs around and so on. Because our commander-in-chief is resolute, because the head of state has taken that decision, for us in the security sector, we are prepared to implement the resolution of our president at whatever cost. And that is why we agreed with the Inspector General, the DCI, my brother here, the DPP, and everybody, that we will go after these people. We have over 30 prominent cases right now, 30 prominent investigations than people in custody in the Coast region alone, and we are pursuing others as we go forward. Now is the time for us to come together, to stand together on this matter of drugs and drug trafficking and help our children. We will do our part. The entirety of our administration system is prepared and it's completely mobilized that we fight this. You can see what we are doing day in, day out. We are collecting yesterday 71 bags of bangi, where another place we are breaking into houses and so on. We are fighting this. It's a war. We're asking you to join us. And I'm happy listening to Professor Abdulatif speak here that we are all completely resolute that we will fight this together. And I thank the Muslim community in the country for speaking up strongly on this issue. I urge you to continue speaking. Use all your forums to talk about this and pile pressure on anyone within your ranks who may be involved in this. Because, you know, truth be told, even if we do investigations and arrest people and take these people to court, which we are not going to stop doing, there will be a greater impact when you pile social pressure from the mosques, from your platforms, and insist on these things being done. On the question of gambling, our brothers and sisters feel the way they feel. And if there is any remedial work that will come through training, through counseling, through better engagement with communities, I promise you we will put it in place. So that we even become sensitive when we do deployments and how we engage. We become even sensitive on the visibility of our officers and how we get involved in what we are going to do. There should never be a day in the life of a government in a country of this kind that any citizen of this country should feel treated as less important than the other on account of how they worship, where they come from, their gender, or who they are. Because that way then we have not succeeded collectively as a nation. And because, as our president tells us, we must strive and overcome whatever challenges we have to build a united country, we will do our best to ensure that this is done. And I undertake, Honorable Duale, the leaders of Jamia Mosque, I undertake that I will consult with you some more. I might even need to draw from you one or two of your leaders to work with the IG and some of our people, even if it involves training and reorganizing the way in which we put our people to fight this feeling so that no one feels discriminated against as we move forward. I think lastly, I want to say once again, thank you. Truth be told, a one-off meeting will not address everything. Now I want to make one request to the chairman of the Jamia Mosque and all of you leaders, because this is very important and we need to engage constantly. I do not feel that it's fair that we have one-off meetings. I would like to engage much more regularly, especially from the security sector point of view. So, give me a small team to work with, and I'll be available to do even a monthly or quarterly meeting with a small committee that will bring issues to our radar screen when they emerge, Whatever we need to deal with, we are able to deal with it immediately, so that our people feel well served, well recognized, well treated, and of course satisfied as citizens of this country. And as soon as you give me the committee, as I said, I will devote a senior officer and I will be available, in some cases myself or even the PS, so that we sit together with my brother the IG, my brother the DCI, and my colleagues in administration, our Secretary National Administration here and our Secretary Internal Security, so that we consult. We are family, we are one people, and we should live as thus. God bless you.
To recognize everybody and all protocols observed. As my colleague has just mentioned, I was not in the program, but I've just feel, because of the nature of the discussion this morning, I might need to make some few security comments. I would like to confess, CS, I bumped on you when you are coming here, and I had to ask you, please, can I join you? Asante sana, CS, for allowing me to come here. When I heard that you are coming to Jamia Mosque, I wanted sincerely to come and have conversation with Muslim brothers. I know one of the department and the service, most of you feel that you might not be very happy is that the service may be I'm leading. I thought this gave me a very good opportunity and come and become open to you, my dear brothers and sisters, that we also share the same feeling. The National Police carries the Muslims officers, the Christian officers, is the representative of this nation. And we feel sometimes when it is generalized that some of our activities, which sometimes borders negative impact in course of the duty, generalized, may not be representative of the service. I would like to say the service, the National Police Service, the slogan and the motto is watumishi kwa wote. In fact, one of our reforms was to change the police force to police service. The reason was to change this mentality and the impression that we are moving from the force where we are seen as aggressors to the service to the Kenyan people, including the brothers and sisters in the Muslim community. What I want to ask you, my brothers, is to give us support. Consider us afresh. We are ready to work with you, and the guarantee I give to you is that the bigger part of police is a good officers. Just a little elements, like one of the presenters who has just mentioned in Eastleigh that there was some friction and the officers were captured in a crime scene. We as National Police Service, we don't condone that. Just to give you an update, action was taken immediately. The 3 officers involved and captured in CCTV, they were arrested, and this morning they appeared before the court. That tells you that it is not the service. This is just rogue officers who goes out of our norms and commit crime. The assurance I'm giving to you, we are strictly bringing those indisciplined officers into record and dealing with them through the court and also internally through our disciplinary process. What I also like you to be aware, we don't operate in isolation as a National Police Service. we have our oversight bodies working closely and oversighting the police activities. Internally, I have Internal Affairs Unit, which is the police of the police. It has its channels of communication, including an online complaint line, a toll number, and also visit to the office and make complaints. It investigates, and those recommendations are brought to me, which I can promise, and I have done before, I take sternly action. This shows you that police we are running now is a service, it is not a force. You cannot run away from your own wrongs and be free. We take action. Therefore, I'm calling upon all of you, since I to steal this opportunity to come and ask you to work with the National Police Service. We see a service which is better than a force. And with those few remarks, I promise that I will continue interacting with the Muslim community to make this relationship a reality. Thank you.